Karoline Leavitt, the current White House press secretary, was told to play a broken piano as a joke. Then her talent shocked the room. In the high-stakes, image-conscious world of Washington, D.C., Karoline was known for her composure at the podium, not for anything musical. But at a private charity gala hosted by the Manhattan Music Conservatory, a gathering of elite musicians, diplomats, and arts patrons, her public persona collided with a deeply private past. When the event's honorary chair, legendary pianist Ellanar Whitmore, jokingly gestured to an old upright piano tucked in the corner and asked if Madam Secretary would grace them with a tune, most in the room chuckled, expecting a PR moment at best. Karoline smiled. Then she walked over, adjusted the rickety bench, and placed her fingers gently on the keys. What happened next left the entire ballroom breathless. Earlier that day, Karoline had flown in from Washington for the weekend's Arts Diplomacy Summit. Between meetings and media interviews, she had made time to visit the conservatory, where she'd once worked behind the scenes during her early 20s. Before press conferences and camera flashes, she'd been a scholarship student scrubbing rehearsal rooms after hours, quietly playing broken pianos when no one was around. No one knew about that chapter of her life. Not her colleagues in the West Wing. Not even most of her close friends. As the sun set over the city, casting amber light across the conservatory's polished marble floors, Karoline wandered alone through the building's quieter wings. She paused outside the recital hall, where tech crews were preparing for the gala. One instrument stood apart, an old upright piano, scarred and long forgotten, barely holding tune. Something about it pulled at her. She sat just for a moment. Her fingers hovered over the keys. She hadn't played in years, at least not like this. The sound that emerged when she finally pressed down was rough, hesitant. But it was real. Honest. She let herself get lost in it. Didn't know White House staff came with musical talent, came a voice from the doorway. Karoline startled. A young man in a crisp navy blazer, Secret Service, likely, stood there, smiling. "Don't worry, ma'am. I won't tell the press." She laughed. Just revisiting an old habit. He nodded toward the piano. Sounds like more than that. Later that evening, the gala was in full swing. Crystal glasses clinked. A string quartet played softly. Guests in tailored gowns and tuxedos mingled under chandeliers, discussing arts funding, cultural diplomacy, and international grants. Then came the surprise moment. As a bit of lighthearted fun, Ellanar Whitmore announced from the stage, "We've asked our honored guest, White House Press Secretary Karoline Leavitt, to show us her musical side. Perhaps something simple on that old beauty in the corner." Laughter rippled through the room. Karoline, caught off guard, hesitated. Cameras were already raised. It would be easy to decline, to play the part of the polite official, wave it off as a joke. But something stronger stirred inside her. That old upright had spoken to her earlier. And maybe, just maybe, it was time the world heard her answer. She stood, walked calmly to the piano. Saturday. The laughter faded. Her fingers touched the keys. The first notes came quietly, almost fragile. A few guests exchanged puzzled glances. But then the melody began to evolve, gathering weight and warmth, emotion threading through every measure. Karoline didn't read from sheet music. She didn't need to. The composition was hers, shaped from memory and instinct, and all the parts of herself she rarely showed in briefing rooms. The piano, despite its flaws, responded to her touch like it remembered her. At first, Ellanar Whitmore sat with mild amusement, her arms folded. But within moments, her expression began to shift. Curious, then focused, then stunned. The melody grew more intricate. Complex rhythms intertwined with unexpected jazz harmonies. It was a dialogue between pain and hope, discipline and improvisation, public mask and private voice. Even guests who had been scrolling their phones stopped. The quartet fell silent. The waitstaff froze mid-service. By the final soaring chords, the room was holding its breath. And when Karoline lifted her hands from the keys, silence. Then applause. Real, thunderous, standing ovation applause. One of the conservatory's directors turned to a fellow board member, whispering, "Did you know she could do that?" No one did, the other murmured. But I don't think this is the first time she's played like that. Ellanar Whitmore stood, her voice carrying across the room. Ms. Leavitt, she said, tone now devoid of jest. Where did you learn to play like that? Karoline smiled gently. Before I wrote speeches, I wrote music. And before I ever spoke behind a podium, I listened. That piano, in a way, raised me. Ellanar descended from the stage. You played it, she said softly, as if it were a Steinway. Karoline looked at the instrument, still humming from the final note. It deserved to be heard. Later, as the evening wore on and reporters scrambled to include the unexpected performance in their coverage, Karoline stood off to the side, drink untouched, watching guests crowd around the old piano. Miguel, the same Secret Service agent from earlier, came to stand beside her. Told you it was more than a habit, he said. She laughed. Guess the secret's out. About time, he said. Washington could use a reminder that some people still speak with their hands, not just their voices. Karoline Leavitt, White House press secretary, had just delivered a message no press briefing ever could. One about passion, authenticity, and the quiet talents we hide away, not because they aren't real, but because the world forgets to ask for them. But sometimes, all it takes is the right moment, and the courage to say yes to it. Has someone ever underestimated you? Have you surprised yourself? Share your story in the comments. And if this inspired you, subscribe for more true and fictional tales of unexpected brilliance, from unsung heroes to quiet legends in the making. Where are you reading from today? And remember, real talent doesn't need permission to shine.